Well, I'm not used to doing that, I'll tell you that much. Final Fantasy Part 13, dude. That's crazy. Absolutely insane.
Ask your healthcare provider if Biktarvy is right for you.
What?
And visit Biktarvy.
No, what? No.
New Ziploc, the only bag with the easy seal, designed to keep your kids' lunch secure.
Can I actually play with keyboard and mouse on PlayStation?
When greatness calls.
No, greatness doesn't.
Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to connect your mouse and keyboard to a PS5. It's a super simple process and won't take you more than a couple minutes. If you want to set up guides for Xbox, click the link at the top right or down in the description below. Let's dive in. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using the RX250K and the RX250M, but the process should be the same for your preferred mouse and keyboard. On PS5, plug your keyboard and mouse into the USB ports on the console. There are two on the back and one on the front. Plug the keyboard into one of the USB ports in the back and the mouse into the one on the front. If you try and plug both at the back, the PS5 will show this error message. If your devices have RGB lights, they should light up now to show that they're getting power. And you won't be able to see the mouse on the screen, but you'll be able to use the arrow keys on your keyboard to move around the home screen. To check that they're connected, press the PS button on your controller and select accessories. You should be able to see what devices are plugged in and registered. Speaking of settings, for your mouse you have two options. Type, which sets whether your mouse works as a left or right-handed mouse. Mouse pointer speed, which changes how fast your mouse moves. If your mouse has a physical DPI switch, like this one does, you can still press the button to cycle through your DPI options. For the keyboard, you have type. This lets you change the keyboard's language. Key repeat delay. This sets how long you have to press the key before it starts repeating. And the key repeat rate, which sets how quickly the key repeats. Once you have those settings dialed in how you like, we can get into a game. Side note, even though the PS5 has native keyboard and mouse support, it's still up to the game developer's discretion if they allow it. So not all games, including some first-party ones, will support mouse and keyboard. I'll leave a link to our list of PS5 keyboard and mouse compatible games down in the description below, next to that subscribe button. So here, I've jumped into the game of War.
Okay, so keyboard in the front, mouse in the back?
If your devices have RGB lights, they should light up now to show that they're getting power. And you won't be able to see the mouse on the screen, but you'll be able to use the arrow keys on your keyboard to move around the home screen. Check that they're connected, press the PS button on your controller and select accessories. You should be able to see what devices are plugged in and registered.
Okay,
For this tutorial, I'm going to be using the RX250K and the RX250M, but the process should be the same for your preferred mouse and keyboard. On PS5, plug your keyboard and mouse into the USB ports on the console. There are two on the back and one on the front. Plug the keyboard into one of the USB ports in the back and the mouse into the one on the front. If you try and plug both at the back, the PS5 will show this error message. If your devices have RGB lights, they should light up now to show that they're getting power. And you won't be able to see the mouse on the screen, but you'll be able to use the arrow keys on your keyboard to move around the home screen. Check that they're connected, press the PS button on your controller and select accessories. You should be able to see what devices are plugged in and registered. Speaking of settings, for your mouse you have two options. Type, which sets whether your mouse works as a left or right-handed mouse. Mouse pointer speed, which changes how fast your mouse moves. If your mouse has a physical DPI switch, like this one does, you can still press the button to cycle through your DPI keys on your keyboard to move around the home screen. Check that they're connected, Press the PS button on your controller and select accessories. You should be able to see what devices are plugged in and registered. Speaking of settings, for your mouse you have two options. Type, which sets whether your mouse works as a left or right-handed mouse. Mouse pointer speed, which changes how fast your mouse moves. If your mouse has a physical DPI switch, like this one does, you can still press the button to cycle through your DPI options. For the keyboard, you have type. This lets you change the keyboard's language. Key repeat delay. This sets how long you have to press the key before it starts repeating. And the key repeat rate, which sets how quickly the key repeats. Once you have those settings dialed in how you like, we can get into a game. Side note.
Okay. I mean, it was just working. The question is, does it work with Valorant, though?
Even though the PS5 has native keyboard and mouse support, it's still up to the game developer's discretion if they allow it. So not all games, including some first-party ones, will support mouse and keyboard. This is the game of Warframe, and it already feels
No, I'd be practicing. Well,
Match found.
okay. Okay. This can either be really good or really bad. Okay, everybody's choosing the good characters, awesome.
Just take a seat. I got this.
I gotta know the keybinds for this game, dude. Trying to play on mouse and keyboard's gonna be annoying as shit.
I will drain the life from our prey. That's all they're good for.
Okay, so this shit's specifically on controller only. Some games support it, the home menu supports it, but still. If I can, like, control it with the mouse, I'm gonna have to get an adapter for this shit, dude. There's no way.
Enemy spotted. Reloading.
Alright, what about Blacklight? That's the question.
Who will be sitting on the other side of the board this time?
So I finally, after 2 years, got PS5, and because I'm a PC gamer and I don't really know how to play with a controller, the first thing that I try to figure out is how to play on a PS5 with a keyboard and a mouse. And I spend a whole day on the internet trying to figure out the best way to do that. And unfortunately, there's pretty much not a single video that kind of walks you through step by step how to do it without at least one big problem. And so when I finally figured it out, I figured that I might as well post a video on YouTube for people who struggle with this thing like I did, because I literally couldn't find a single video that walked me through step by step what I need to do without spending hundreds of dollars, or without downloading 50 different things, or losing a picture quality or whatever, right? This solution that I found out doesn't require you to buy anything, and you do not lose any quality in the process. And so it's one of the best solutions that I found out. It's very simple. The whole setup takes probably less than 30 minutes, and then you're good to go, man. So let's jump right into it. Let me show you what I did. So this is my new setup right now. It has changed just a little bit in the last few weeks. So I got basically gaming curved monitors down here, and here's my 4K TV that I currently have connected to PlayStation that I have right over there. And here, whatever different options that they did, a little device that basically allows you to connect your mouse, your keyboard, and your controller to PS4, and basically you can directly control your PS4 with the mouse and the keyboard, and there is a bit of a translation going on here in this device between the controls on a controller and how that kind of translates into the keyboard and the mouse. You have an app that you can basically assign different key bindings to different controller actions, and it worked just fine on PS4 for me. I've been using that for years, and it basically made it possible for me to use PS4 at all, because I personally cannot use a controller. There's no way. I can't hit anything. I can't run straight. There's no way for me to use it. For 30 plus years, I've been a PC gamer only, and I know how to use a mouse and a keyboard. That's what I prefer. And just for the naysayers, I'm not actually using PS4 for any kind of competitive play, or PlayStation in general for any kind of a single player experience. The bit is to play style. I was kind for the old generation ones, and unfortunately with the new controller and with some of the protections over there and the new design, it's just not working. I haven't really seen a video of anybody managing to figure out how to make this work, but yeah, it is what it is. Connecting this directly to PS5 and then controlling the PS5 with a mouse and a keyboard through Zimp Apex is not working, unfortunately. Okay, second option was actually using Zimp Apex as well, but connecting it to a PC and using Remote Play. So for those of you who don't know, you can actually use this app on a PC called Remote Play, Sony Remote Play, or whatever, PS5 Remote Play, that allows you to control our work. Now, next one was a little bit similar, but they were basically saying, hey, use the Apex, but instead of using PS5 controller, use PS4 controller. Because, you know, this should have been working with PS4 controller version 2, and so try that. I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. So I connected the old controller, PS4 V2 controller, and unfortunately, it still didn't work. I think for that, you know, draw a line. I'm not going to do that. Another thing that some people recommended was also using Remote Play, but not one of the main problems is it stretches that image into kind of 2K, so it's not bad. Great, so I'm not really plug some shit in and out and connect a few things, and then let's see what I can get. So now that we covered the things that did not work for me, let's take a look at the thing that actually did work. So make sure that first thing that you do, you go into options up top here, and you enable in the system the Remote Play. So make sure that remote play right here is on, and then that's pretty much it that you need to do as the setup on the PlayStation right here. Now we're gonna pivot into what you need to do on your PC.
So now with your PC, what you want to do is open a web browser and write PS5 Remote Play download. When you click on that, it takes right. And then once you do that, you fire it up, and then it allows you to connect to your PlayStation. There's going to be a little bit of a step or two that basically allows you to connect the two, and because we already enabled it in the PS5, it shouldn't be a problem. So for me, I already click on it because it saves the last PS5 that you had in there, and then it opens up.
Now there you go. So now basically this is my PlayStation streaming on a TV, a 4K TV, and this is my Remote Play that basically displays exactly the same information. But we already talked about why this is nice, but it doesn't really resolve my issue by its own. So let's move on to the second step of this process that needs to happen before you can actually use a keyboard and a mouse to control the game here on the TV, because that's what I wanted. I want to make sure that I can play on the TV at 4K using the PS5, but just make sure that I don't have to use a controller to do that.
Now let me show you quickly what actually happens now that I have Remote Play running. What actually happens when I try to activate the PlayStation on my TV with the controller, right? So if I'm trying to now get out of this because nothing is working on my Remote Play, I can't use my controller, I can't use my keyboard, my mouse, anything, right? So now I need to figure out, okay, how do I get out of here? If I press on anything and kind of activate the controller, it basically gives me kind of an error that I lost the connection to the PlayStation 5, which means that kind of the PlayStation 5 took over, and the Remote Play is no longer running, right? So really, the only way for me to do anything in this is to figure out how through the remote play I can control the PS5 that's streaming on my TV. And so here's the second and probably the most important steps in this whole process is going to the website. I'll link it in the description, www.rewasd.com. It will take you to this page right here, and then you basically download the free 7-day trial. Now, if you want to buy it, this is where you're still saving significantly more money than trying some of these emulators and connectors and all that shit, because $7 for this program, I'm definitely buying it. That's the investment for years to come into making sure that I can play whatever exclusive games on PS5 with the mouse and the keyboard. And so for $7, that's insignificant amount of money. That's less than your Starbucks order that you place 3 times a day. I don't drink coffee, so not for me. Anyways, but for me, since I just wanted to try this out, I just went to download the free 7-day trial just to figure out, is this something that I'll be able to use or not? Because then again, nobody really explained exactly how this would work through this whole process. So there you go. You download it, you install it, just following simple steps, and then what you end up with is this. So let me try to make this kind of bigger, I guess. This is the app, and to be fair, that's why I said that the setup will probably take around 30 minutes, because when I first opened this up, I had no freaking idea what I'm looking at. And I've been around some of these apps that you kind of have to set up stuff. I have, Cyborg. This controller, now the movements we look at was the robot takes you through that of a peripheral. What is it? You basically say, oh, that's my mouse. And then, oh, I detected this. What is it? That's my line, and that's for your. And here you basically have to set up a few things. You have to set up the acceleration of the mouse and kind of how it reacts, then the sensitivity, smoothing, and a whole bunch of other stuff, right? I'm not going to walk you through that exactly. I think one of the most challenging thing was to set up this right here. I know it's small. I'll try to blow it up a little bit so you can see. It's basically how the movement of the mouse, left, right, up, down, how that translates into the sticks on the controller. And so that's the only one that's a little bit more challenging, but then again, in that video, it takes you step by step, and once you wrap your head around it, it's actually not that difficult. It's just looking at it for the first time. I was staring at it like basic, exactly the function, and actually it's been what play, and after that, you'll apply the changes, and then you'll see what it does. So step number 1, fire up the game. I'm gonna be starting a Horizon Forbidden West. That's one of the main things that I wanted the PS5 for, is to be able to play Horizon, but there was no freaking way that in that fast-paced combat I'll be able to do anything with a controller. Now that the PS5 is running, let's start the PS Remote Play. So let's do that over here. Connect it to my PlayStation. And now I'm connected. There you go. You can see that mouse, controller, and a keyboard are connected, so that looks good. Everything seems to be stable.
Look who it is. This is Ju Yuen, a public security officer.
And so now I have everything mirrored, right? On top, I have the PlayStation 5 running at 4K. Down here is my PC that's running the remote play. And then right here, I've got the simulator. And then when I hit apply, it basically tells me here in the corner that the settings were applied. And now when I use my gamepad to go up and down, you can see that it's controlling both the remote play and the PlayStation on the TV. So now when I go get out of, let me say continue. There you go. And you can see that basically both of them are running at the same time. There is basically no delay, and the reason why there is no delay is because I'm actually controlling the PlayStation instead of the remote play. And so now, if I control, if I'm moving, now I'm basically using my keypad to move left to right. I can jump, I can slide, I can do anything that I basically set up in this little app. It basically allows me to do everything: crouch, shoot, aim, and everything, right? So when I go with my mouse and I hit aim and then look around, it allows me to do that. So, but I'm not like, okay, so now that I can play on the TV, I don't really want to see this double. So what the hell do I do with this? And how do I stop controlling the game and actually get out? Because I'm on my PC, but now my normal controls are locked up. So the way you do that is basically do Control, Alt, and Delete. And when you do that, it gets you to this screen. You hit Escape, and it basically stops it, right? So that's the quickest way. So basically now I have my mouse control back and I'm back in Windows. But so what I did is basically minimize the window, make it like tiny or whatever, right? Make it super tiny and just throw it on my other screen right here in the corner. Like, I don't really want to be seeing this, but it needs to keep running for me to be able to control the TV. That's really my main purpose. And now when I apply the changes again, I'm basically controlling just with my mouse. I'm basically just controlling the TV. Yes, it's also controlling this thing here in the corner, but that's not in my field of view. I don't care about that. I can turn off this monitor, it's still gonna be running. But yeah, there you go. And now basically everything is set up. I can continue using everything that I set up in this little app right here.
You had in there, and then it.
What was it? PS5.
It opens up.
Now there you go. So now basically this is my PlayStation streaming on a TV, a 4K TV, and this is play to do PC.
And right, PS5 remote play download.
I gotta create its own folder, dude. Fuck. Remoteplay.exe. Alright. Hi, Jimmy's mom. Alright, This is a PlayStation sanctioned download. And it's fast too. Dude, setting up to play mouse and keyboard on PlayStation takes so long. Oh. do this shit on MK0. Okay. We have remote play downloaded. Rewazed. Download. Gonna download it here. Agree and install. Funny thing is, this is supposed to be a quick installation, but 30 minutes is not a quick installation. I'm just doing my best to get this done, honest. I have to restart my PC, guys.